Is it against DoorDash
Yeah.
terms of service to use the Para app?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, and I'm doing things a little differently today. I am no longer in my car like usual. I am just here in my apartment filming a video for you, and I think you're gonna like it. And so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jacob, and I try to teach people ways where they can make more money with DoorDash and other things in the gig economy. So in this video, I have an interview with one of the employees at Para. And Para is an app that lets you see a tip transparency through your gig work. And they work pretty well with DoorDash to provide you with the total amount of money you're going to make for every trip. And I would say that I do have some concerns. I want to put a disclaimer that I don't have this app downloaded on my phone. I think that I need a little bit more information before I can be 100% confident in this app that is going to work exactly as expected, and that I am safe from any kind of deactivation from DoorDash. So I do have a few concerns, and you're going to just hear me ask some questions and maybe get a little more clarity about what exactly Para is and what their mission is for people who use their app. This video was a little more difficult to make than most of my other videos. I did have to do a lot of research for this, and so if you guys wouldn't mind just hitting that like button and that subscribe button if you like my content, and enjoy.
Hey everybody, I'm interviewing Jimmy Thompson here with Para, sorry.
yeah, Para, that's a tricky name. Yeah.
Okay, Para. All right, so I just wanted to start off this interview just kind of talking about like what Para is and like what do you do?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Para was started by two folks in a garage in San Francisco, Jeff and David. They're high school friends. They're both from the Hong Kong area. Came to the U.S. I think for college, and reunited in San Francisco. The original sort of thing that we're doing back during COVID in March, April, so that spring and summer was helping rideshare drivers with unemployment insurance issues. Right, so like just sort of on their old website, they used to be called autonomy.jobs, and they would help drivers figure out like when on the unemployment curve it makes sense to go back to work. Right, so even from the very beginning, right, it was kind of about helping drivers earn more money. It was slowly over time as we met and talked with more and more drivers. We also spoke with more and more delivers. There's, gloss over a lot of stuff, right? We eventually landed on what the Para app does now, which is it shows the full payout to DoorDashers up front. That's exactly what it does today. And then going forward, we're hoping to expand sort of trip transparency to more platforms and just sort of continue just helping delivery drivers earn more money.
Okay, so is the main thing that Para does is it show tip transparency, or does it do more than just that?
Yeah, so I guess technically it does more. So like technically, like there's a general chat in there. There's a few local group chats that we've sort of incubated. There was an earnings tracking section of it, although we had to sort of give up on maintenance on that because there's just folks who are just interested, too many more interested in DoorDash. That's pretty much, it's like a one-trick pony. So that's just what it does.
Okay, perfect. So I guess if you were to summarize Para's mission in maybe like one sentence or two sentences, what would you say like your goal is right now moving forward?
I think it's not specific. We just want to help delivery drivers earn more money, stress less while they're on the job. So I think that's pretty much, that's just pretty much what we're about. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we tried before, and I just sort of, as you talk to more and more delivery drivers, right, it becomes more and more obvious that like it all, like that's the bottleneck in their lives, right? There's other parts of driving that are super annoying. There's a whole bunch of issues. Like a lot of those issues would go away if you just help them find a way to earn more money. So yeah.
Yeah. So, and I also wanted to ask, like, how many employees work for Para, and I guess if you or all the other employees like have experience with food delivery, I guess on like DoorDash or maybe Uber Eats or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a good question. So right now the Para team is about, I think it's about 4 people who work on this sort of day and night full time. So the 2 co-founders, they are sort of from, not sort of the gig space, but like David has a backstory at Uber. So he founded Uber in or not founded, he launched Uber in Las Vegas. He helped recruited drivers for them. He did rides and, sort of with them back in the day, and just really get a feel for what that was like. So they both do deliveries. David probably does more deliveries than Jeff. I'd say they're probably active on at least David's DoorDash and I think it's Uber Eats on a weekly basis. And me and the other guys, we just know enough to be, slightly dangerous. So we're not pros by any means. Basically, our sort of as a company, right? Our strength is software, and driver strength is sort of being on the ground, really great at what they do. So we just try to combine what we're good at with what drivers are already good at, just sort of help everyone make.
Okay. Yeah, because that's one of the things that I've wondered about for a while is if you guys even like had any experience with delivering, so you kind of like knew the frustrations that, the full-time, dashers have. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah, I mean, we did. I mean, this was probably the most learning I got out of it was we went and we visited a friend in Seattle back in last fall. We just hailed him around in his car while I was doing deliveries for like 4 days straight. And he did multitasking some days, right? We got a feel for like, we hated a restaurant called Maharaja. There's always like 20 delivery drivers outside waiting in the rain. We got a feel for like how stressful it is juggling those apps. We got our first taste of like what certain apps hide and what they don't. So yeah, that was probably like, at least for me, right? I think David and Jeff, they've always done more deliveries than I have. Like, that was sort of my intro into the world of work and understanding what deliveries were.
Yeah, I guess it's really nice talking with you right now because I know that there's actually like people behind this and they're working their hardest to, make the best app possible. Because I remember like I posted one of my first videos that I posted. It was like my frustration because like DoorDash was hiding like most of my tips, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do about this. And I kept getting comments saying like use the Para app, and like I thought it was like spam at first because there were just a bunch of people I had never even heard of it at first, and then I think eventually I got a comment from either you or somebody else at the company, and they were like, oh, like you were just like reaching out to me, and I'm like, oh, like there's actually a person behind this. Like I don't have to like fear that this is just some like weird thing. Like people are actually using it and they're working to make this app better.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's been one of the most fun parts about being sort of at the stage where we're at is like, it's still very much hands-on. Right? Like we literally know probably 100 to 200 drivers just by name, right? They're really, like folks have been so gracious to us and the time they've given us, right? So even before we had this, people would still meet with us. They would still tell us about their lives. Like they still gave us the time of day, even though like we didn't have a whole lot to offer back. So that's been something that we've been really grateful for. I think it's unique to this part of the world, and it's sort of let us figure out where we're at.
Okay, perfect. So let's get into talking about the app a little more. I know we kind of touched on it a little bit about like what it does and stuff. So the main part is like the tip transparency, and I think many people who are watching this video already know about that. And so I kind of want to get into some concerns that people might have. And at least like to share my background, I don't want to use an app that I'm not 100% confident in, and I haven't downloaded it yet myself. Although I love the feature of tip transparency. I wish that I could just use it right now, but I have some concerns, and I'm sure everyone else does too. And so my first question is, like I have to log in with my DoorDash credentials, right? So my username and password, and correct me if I'm wrong. And then I have to like share like some of my information that I've already shared with DoorDash. And so are you able to like view my like sensitive personal information, I guess like my social security number and like email address and like my actual address? Like, can you actually go in there and view it as an employee of Para?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So, and you're getting the JV team in terms of technical know-how. So I'll do what I can. Yeah, so I think the way our sort of storage of folks' private info works is people submit their DoorDash credentials, and that generates something called like a encrypted key or something that's then used to talk to the DoorDash server. So we don't store your DoorDash email or password on our servers or on file. That just sort of generates the key, and that's the key that we use to talk to the DoorDash server all the time. And then in terms of just like, can anyone or can we see folks' private info on DoorDash? So even putting aside that first point, it's a good question. I think a lot of confusion has come from our terms of service, which originally were for something else we were trying to do earlier, which was something called apply. So we created a little profile that would accept folks' driver application information, and then we'd go and take that and apply to a bunch of different gig apps on their behalf. And then when tip transparency took off, we just kept the terms of service, and we were talking to our lawyers. But no, so we cannot even technically access your bank account info. I don't believe the socials are stored in the Dasher app. Like when I go on David's Dasher app and I go into the bank account section, I'm pretty sure the digits aren't stored there either. And if we were to try to mess with that, I think it would trigger an email sent to you from DoorDash saying that someone's messing with your stuff and requiring authorization to change it. I think like that's like the micro stuff, but I think the macro is just, we're about helping people earn more money. Like that would be really just like a stack goal is if you.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. I mean, yeah, I get that, because what I do with my YouTube channel is I really want to teach people like everything that I've learned over the years, and just give them the most accurate information possible, unbiased opinion, just like everything that I've learned. So I really respect that. But you did talk about like Para's terms of service a little bit. So now we get into the question that a lot of people are wondering, like, is it against DoorDash's terms of service? Is it against DoorDash's terms of service to use the Para app?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but like to me, it looks like it. David would say we believe it might be. So I don't think there's one official company position, but as best as I can tell, if you share your login credentials on any app with any third party, that's enough per basically every platform's terms of service to potentially result in DoorDash, aka deactivation. It's like Gridwise, Moves, basically any third-party app that asks for your login.
Okay. And I'm glad you mentioned Gridwise, because this is one of the questions that I wrote down I just needed to ask you, was because, I mean, you say you've been on like deliveries, but you haven't like, been a delivery driver or whatever. So like I use the Gridwise app, and I feel like a lot of other people do. And so I was wondering if you knew the answer to that. Like, is Gridwise also against DoorDash's terms of service to use that?
So I definitely don't want to speak for them. I don't think any app would ever take action against users of that platform, right, for sharing their login info. I think the sort of the bigger picture is basically anything can be in violation of DoorDash's terms of service. It's sort of a overall catch-all for if you need to deactivate people for any reason. Like I think there might even, I don't know, this is where I think I saw a clause in there that was like you also can't share screenshots of the app or like things on a social context or something that automatically like gets rid of all like YouTubers ever as well. I don't know. I'm not a legal expert, right? But I think that's just the important thing. It's sort of it feels tyrannical, but it's not really a rule of law thing. So yeah, I think that's the truth.
Yeah, I think it would be hard for like DoorDash to go through and like find all the YouTubers' accounts and like deactivate them, and it would just be a lot of work, because I know, I mean, just my guess, but I would say like, thousands and thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of DoorDashers and Uber Eats drivers, like they also use Gridwise and like other like earnings tracking apps. And so, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to ask about that, because that seems like when I was like researching the Para app, and I was like, oh, like they do like a lot of earnings trackings type stuff. Like, well, that's exactly what Gridwise does. And so I was like, oh, maybe I need to deactivate my Gridwise account. And
no, I don't think so. I mean, it's really hard to imagine. Like, I mean, it's clearly a wrong move on the part. I think, but I think your gut instinct is right, and like this is why you're sitting it out with. I think it's fine, right? Like the two phrases I tell people all the time are like, when in doubt, sit it out. And if you're not 100% comfortable with it, don't do it. I don't want anyone doing something they don't feel 100%. There's literally no rush to use Para. When you need us, we're going to be here. In the meantime, feel free to just sort of watch something's
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, one of the videos that I've made in the past, just a couple weeks ago, I said that I really, really want to use the Para app, but I also
Yeah.
don't want to be deactivated from DoorDash.
Yeah.
And at that time, I had just been signed up for DoorDash, and if I got deactivated, I wouldn't have been able to do any kind of food delivery. And so I was just like, if they take away 100% of my income from that, that would. So that's when I started to say, like, okay, maybe I need to spread out my earnings and maybe sign up for other
Yeah.
apps just in case something were to happen. So
What else did you sign up for?
I signed up for Uber Eats, and I'm still waiting to see if I'm going to be approved of that, because apparently the background check takes a long time. But yeah, I just started signing up for a couple other ones, just in case I did decide to use the Para app at some point. And just a couple more like app questions, just so like people would know, like, how are people like notified of a hidden tip? Because you just see it in the
Yeah.
DoorDash app as a certain amount. Like, how I think I've seen the process like evolve a little bit over the last couple weeks. So like, what's the process right now? Like, take me through, like, if I just got an order from DoorDash, take me through the process of what I would see on my screen.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, originally we launched via like SMS text, which was its own thing. But right now, if you use Para on Android or iPhone, so when a DoorDash ping comes in, Para notification should pop down either shortly after, sometimes even before. It'll say something like total. It'll give you number, tip. It'll give you number, and it'll give you the restaurant name. So, in addition to the notifications, we've also we also have a section of the app called the author history section. Because sometimes our notifications lag, they run into issues. Sometimes there's like cell reception stuff. So you can also see a live feed of your full info in that section of the app as well. It's in the Drive tab, and it'll display the same info. So yeah, I mean, basically that's the takeaway is two other, so it's total, tip, and the restaurant. Basically, the last two are kind of pointless. Some folks like mistakenly add the tip to the total, which we get, but like don't do that because you'll be disappointed. That total number, if it matches what DoorDash shows, there's no hidden tip. If it's greater, the difference is the hidden tip. That's pretty much it.
Okay, cool. So is Para like paying like other like YouTubers or anything to like promote the app to other people?
Yeah, we do have an affiliate program. And if anyone's interested, please email me at jimmy@withpara.com. So the gist there is we really try to only partner with people who preferably use the Para app, are very transparent about the pros and the cons with their community. And then also, I think for us, I mean, yeah, it's just sort of, I think those are just the two big things. And yeah, we want to be transparent about that. Yeah.
Okay. So you said it's like an affiliate link. So how are people getting paid to, I guess, like promote it? Because like the app is free, right? To use the Para app, it's completely free. So how are you getting the money to pay these people that promote?
Yeah. So we pay on a per download basis. So there's something called a smart link. When you hand out the link, it'll track the downloads from the source. I think the short of it is some folks have seen how awesome Para is, and they wanted to own a part of the company. That's where the money comes from.
Okay, so it's like an equity kind of thing. Like you're getting like a small stake in the company.
Yeah. I mean, this would be fun. David knows way more about this than I would, and it would speak to the second half of your channel, the finance section. So he actually used to do, I don't know if it's finance, but like he like knew or dabbled in something called venture capital, where like you make investments in small companies.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd be a fun guy to have on the channel as well. I think you might enjoy meeting him, and the audience might enjoy meeting him as well.
Okay, yeah, that would be interesting. Are you okay? Yeah, go for it.
No, and the last thing I had a little brain fart there. The third thing that's important for the affiliate program, I forgot, it's the most important. It's just folks who share our sense of mission and purpose in helping drivers. So we're not looking for fly-by-night stuff. People who really care about their community. Forgot that, right? There was all the other technical stuff. But yeah, that's probably the most important thing we look for. Okay, so how long? And I haven't forgot how long you've been doing the channel, but like just what's doing the channel been like? How long have you been doing that? Just tell me a bit more about that.
So the channel, I posted my first like DoorDash video in, I believe it was March, and then it took me a really long time to edit it because I was using the wrong editing software, and I was just like kind of frustrated by the end, and I was like, oh, fine, I'll post it, and I got like no views, and so I'm like, do I actually want to do this? But then just after like learning more about like the community on YouTube and people posting videos, I gave it a second try. So I did another video in May, and then that was like my hidden tip video of like, oh, I can't believe these DoorDash is hiding our tips, and then that one just took off and got like a ton of views right now. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna keep going. And so so I just been posting pretty consistently ever since then. So hasn't been too long, but it's been fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I gotta figure out the name too, right? Because it's DoorDash and finance.
Yes.
Right. So how do you stitch them together?
So my ultimate goal is to go from what I want to talk about is how to make more money, and then how to like save more money, and then so eventually you can like spend more money on the things you actually want to spend your money on. And so and so eventually when you get to that third step of spending more money, it could be just like, investing your money in the stock market or whatever. And so, but I guess like the very first step is like you can save your money right now, but if I can teach people how to make more of that money, then they can they can see that, wow, I have more money now than I ever did. So now I want to figure out how I can like save it and spend it wisely. And so I'm thinking that like eventually I can start talking about different finance topics and just things like that. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for coming on and speaking about the Para app for just a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just been great getting to talk to you. And I think, I still have a few of my concerns that I'll talk about a little bit later. But it's just been nice knowing that there is like a face and people behind this app, and just getting to know you a little bit more, kind of eases like a few of those concerns. So yeah, thank you so much.
So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm glad that you made it to the end and you learned a little bit more about the Para app and what they kind of do as a company and where they might be going in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and like I said, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up or subscribe for more DoorDash and gig economy videos, and I will see you guys next time.